It's tough to feel big. It's tough to feel. There was a time where it was really tough to feel like we could ever transcend that, so like that actual literal border. It was tough to get over that border. Now I think we've developed like a whole new monster over the years. I think we probably have some of the most passionate, prideful fans.
With all of the pressure on Drake right now, it's evident from his performance on the new collaborative album SSS with PartyNextDoor that he didn't fully consider what he was saying. This is evident when we consider the album's release at a time when the stakes have never been higher. It's unfortunate that Drake lost to Kendrick Lamar, and not like us in their feud, despite his awful phrases, situations, and full dices in which he's messing with the wrong people. Drake is trying to rewrite the rules of rap in the worst way imaginable with his shenanigans. For some reason, even after failing and learning every lesson imaginable from Kendrick Lamar once more, he continues to make subtle jabs at people. Not only those like Joe Budden, despite the victim character he is playing in an attempt to persuade them. Some of the worst insults Drake has ever uttered are found in the things he says to Kendrick on this album. From Kendrick to other individuals with whom he is currently attempting to quarrel, it is already evident that Drake's actions here will not be successful. Now, please remember to subscribe and leave a like before we continue. Since I am speaking the truth, the Drake fans are furious with me and don't want you to hear this, thus it's more crucial than ever. Even though Drake's entire album is currently making a lot of noise, because everyone wants to see how low he has fallen in this era, I believe that before Drake fans jump up and declare that he is back, they need to understand that in this era, music like this usually rises up unless it is something that is truly quality driven. Like Kendrick Lamar's Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. It will never endure. All things considered, Drake's music doesn't seem to speak to anyone outside of his depressed fan base who are in such need of anything. He didn't put in enough effort here, as Kendrick Lamar stated. The fact that Drake failed to present a unified performance here in relation to the message and self-presentation he wishes to share with the world is a major factor contributing to this. His actions on this record are now confirming the reasons why hip-hop fans are completely enamored with him, though he believes he is still attempting to be the strong man who believes he can say whatever he wants and go against anybody. He also attempts to play the victim card in parts of the album, as he has done since losing to Kendrick Lamar in their feud. In the end, these conflicting egos result in a performance on this album where Drake raps about how he is over beef and what it means, and that all he wants to do is start a party. In the same vein, he says that he cannot move past all of the rap beef that has occurred and that he will only continue to stand in it from this point on. With the stakes this high and coming from an artist of Drake's caliber, it's really just an artistic humiliation when it comes to this confusion and ultimately when it comes to attempting to create a unified and dynamic experience. The song Give Me a Hug is the only place we see this chaos. Although everyone would have thought that Drake returning to rapping would be beneficial given his current situation, he simply lets himself show how lost and disconnected from reality he is in this performance, which is his most lyrical since the entire beef. Naturally, this is the worst possible outcome since Drake jams in a ton of jabs that are all aimed at Kendrick Lamar throughout the entire song. Drake is attempting to downplay the significance of Kendrick Lamar's career and the harm the beef truly caused him by discussing this conspiracy to ruin his career and everything that went along with it. We all recently saw the Grammys and the Super Bowl, so Drake can say all of these things in a song and then act like he's fine. We have witnessed his actual losses and his response to suffering such a significant setback. Things just get worse from here because Drake is attempting to comment here and seems to be disparaging Kendrick Lamar and everything he has done, even though these lyrics really only set the situation. As he attempts to make a clever statement about how girls and dancers now need to do their jobs with a dictionary in their hands, he discusses how hip-hop is flipped and the impact of everything with Kendrick Lamar as the genre's leader. This is obviously his attempt to mock Lamar for having substance in his music and maintaining a high standard of quality in his lyrics, even when he is making big hits. Although we can all see the angle Drake is attempting to take here, it simply doesn't work, and if anything, it distances him from hip-hop in general, since he is demonstrating that he doesn't genuinely enjoy the genre, and instead wants to focus on what has made it so amazing in the first place. Drake now completely loses his mind on this tune in the second part, following these jabs at Kendrick. He tries to get off topic at the beginning of this verse by stating that he thinks he is more hip-hop hop than anyone else based on a few arbitrary facts that lead him to feel he is the most influential rapper of this generation. Once more, even if Drake is correct about all the experiences he is discussing here, no hip-hop fan who wants to see it in the best possible light would ever bring Paperwork into a rap feud, especially when you are now making fun of people and acting tough, which only serves to make you look awful. Drake's assertions regarding Not Like Us run counter to his attempts to gain favor because he is only intensifying his feud with Kendrick on this song. In addition, he disparages Joe Budden by mentioning Melissa Ford, one of his co-hosts, saying that he dislikes having her next to Joe in a much more outrageous manner than I am because she is also from the Six. After making a brief pause to disparage a retired rapper named Joe, who I'm sure will help Drake recover even from this setback, Drake returns to Kendrick with ambiguous statements, implying that although Kendrick is releasing music like Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, his album and his work are more difficult. It doesn't take an expert to determine which album is more influential and which is the superior piece of music. But once more, I don't want to delve into this entire record because we don't have nearly enough time for that. Drake goes into further detail on this album about his return and his attempt to adopt a tough guy persona, but we all know that he is not who he believes he is, and that everyone actually believes the contrary. Throughout the remainder of this album, and Drake's entire rollout thus far, he has persisted in trying to simply step on Kendrick Lamar and everything he is doing. Finally, months after the musical back and forth has ended, and Kendrick's victory and influence have never been greater, Drake has delivered another successful diss in response. Drake's words, "We're not like them, and they're not like us," later in the record, best illustrate how desperate he becomes. Beyond the fact that the song has been out for months, it's practically a diamond record, and it has become a cultural staple larger than any other rap song in years. Drake believes that saying the words of the song that ended his career is clever, and that by doing so, he is retaliating for everything Kendrick has done to him, and somehow getting ahead of the joke. Therefore, no small line that addresses this issue will ever be able to erase the facts of what it has done to you. In particular, Drake has talked about his sad lifestyle where he is stuck around the most superficial and dull things possible. On his record leading up to this, again, given where Drake is at this point, this is not a flex, and if anything, is elevating Kendrick's work in everything that has happened. Drake is demonstrating why he lost this feud with Kendrick so badly and why everyone is tired of the same old games by being himself. Naturally, Drake couldn't limit his criticism to what he was saying in the song because his entire performance revolves around playing multiple roles at once. Drake enjoys making things worse than they are and making the mess of whatever he is attempting to create even bigger. Drake apparently accomplished this by abruptly reacting to Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us Grammy sweep by attempting to mock the largest music awards ceremony once more and claiming that he is using the most prized trophy an artist can receive as a doorstop. Even while it's obvious that Drake is making a point of saying this at the moment to demonstrate his disinterest in Kendrick Lamar's accomplishments and accolades, what we witnessed that evening was historic 2Z slide video, which depicts the reality of his Grammys hanging in his trophy room, reveals that his message is performative once more, and that he is merely attempting to discredit Kendrick by saying and doing these things rather than genuinely helping him. Drake began this new chapter in his career and this album by demonstrating that in spite of all the changes that have occurred in hip-hop and in his career, he is still essentially presenting himself as the same Drake from the For All the Dogs era. The Dogs, in the end, will see that although Drake fans are currently content because they have an album to support, and naturally the record is receiving attention because everyone wants to see how Drake's career is progressing, this album does not push or demonstrate any evolution or improvement in the Drake formula, and once again feels like he is regressing in terms of his overall progress. This isn't going to last despite what Drake followers keep trying to imply. Regarding Drake's continued attempts to spark new feuds on this record, whether with Kendrick Lamar or Joe Budden, Joe stated prior to the release of this record, "Don't try to beef with anybody now in this time where you have no hype and things really just look like they're over." There's no other way to put it, but Drake's continued attempts to discredit and undermine Kendrick Lamar beyond attacking someone like Joe are the most pitiful thing you can do. While it's appropriate to try to undermine what Kendrick has done, and in the spirit of competition, it would be encouraged to try to top Kendrick's body of work and try to chase their impact. You can't act like playing in the Super Bowl, winning Grammys, and simply changing the culture means nothing, because you've seen how much has changed and how much Kendrick's victory in this beef has upended the game. Ultimately, even though Drake can continue to disparage Kendrick Lamar and pretend demanded that his reality differs from what we have all witnessed, this will not work. Drake's inability to take a stand and do anything honorable is the reason his career is failing. He has ignored Kendrick's success and continues to undervalue him on stage, while also attempting to convince higher-ups in the paperwork that Kendrick went too far and destroyed everything. It will be interesting to see how all of this impacts Drake the most in the future. Even though I'm sure Kendrick won't reply to this because he has said everything he needs to, which I believe was very clear with the whole game over message at the end of the halftime show. After all of this, please share your thoughts regarding Drake's disses in the comment section below. Have you had enough of him is attempting to play this strange game? And what do you believe will occur next? I am eager to listen to your thoughts. Please remember to subscribe and leave a like if you watched the entire video. It really helps me, and like I mentioned before, the Drake fans don't want you to hear this, so I truly need the support. Now, if you want to see how Drake's actions have caused everyone outside of his supporters to dislike this album thus far, watch the recommendation video.